Hello, guys. How you guys doing? Just getting set up here. Hello. Welcome. Holy Toledo, guys. Are you guys feeling a lot of these energies that are going on with this full moon and the retrogrades and the lunar eclipse and holy wow. So I'm going to wait just a few seconds to see if anybody shows up. So you're very welcome to say hello. And I'm going to peek through my notes because there is so much going on, you guys, with not only this full moon, but the retrogrades and the lunar eclipse and the super moon and all that kind of stuff. So I will share while we're getting ready and having people come on, if they come on. That what I'm going to do. So for those that are brand new, I'm Patty with Divine Warrior Intuitive, and I hope that you come on for not only just a reading, but also to learn a little bit about astrology and what's going on with all these energies. Because the energies are not only from the planets. I mean, this is a lot to do with ourselves and our world and why we're actually going through a lot of the stuff that we're going through. So we have a lot of energy started this month. So there will be, I'll talk a little bit about the astrology. I'm going to do basically a summary of what's going on because I'm not going to get into the squares and the tines and all these other things that go on out there and what's, crossing over what and what's, conjuncting with what and things like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do a real quick summary of what's going on, not only with the full moon, because the full moon is today, guys. We've already started the full moon and the eclipse, the lunar eclipse. However, that all plays into the super moon, why it is a super moon and what causes it to be a super moon, and then the retrogrades. So let's get started. Again, this is a live. This is where the chat is open. And then I will go into a reading. It'll be a general reading basically for the energies for what is happening with the full moon. Okay. So, but you're very welcome to say hello. You're very welcome to ask a question. If it's in retrospect to what we're talking about, I'll answer it right there. If it isn't, I'll answer it at the end. Okay. So hopefully you'll enjoy this and hopefully you will like, share, and subscribe. At the end, just to give you a tidbit too, I do intuitive tarot as well, and that I do dailies and weekly. And these are live readings as well, so that if you are going through something or have a question, you can ask for it, because it's really important to ask Divine for help right when you go through those things, not a week later or when it's too late. Okay, because that's why my channel is Divine Guided, Divine Intervened. All right, so let's get started. So we are in a full moon of Sagittarius. This started definitely around 4:13 this morning, and that is in the North Node. It's considered in the North Node because we're having the lunar eclipse, okay? And I'm not going to go into that, but what I am going to share with you, being in Sagittarius, we want to look at what we really want to research. It's sort of like we want to, well, welcome from Holland, Notch, welcome. That's a long way from the United States. Beautiful. Gypsy Vanners. I'm a horse person. We call them Gypsy Vanners here, but you guys have the Vanners in Holland. Oh, beautiful. So definitely we want to really look at our inner self. We want to be able to search for something. So if you've watched any of my readings, we are in a inner search type of process right now, especially through June and July because of the planets and what's going on. So we really need to be patient with this full moon. Reason being, we have so many energies going on, not only with the full moon. We've got the lunar eclipse. It's also called a blood moon or flower moon. I'll share that in a second really quickly. But we also have it as the supermoon. We have a Saturn eclipse going on. We have a Pluto eclipse going on. And the big one is the Mercury, not eclipse, excuse me, retrogrades. Saturn, Mercury, and Pluto are in retrogrades. And when they're in retrogrades, that means the planet has slowed down. They can go back and forth in their signs. However, what this basically means is that the planet slows down. And when the planet slows down, what that means is that power becomes even more strong. It's sort of like this lunar eclipse. And the super moon, because the moon is so close to the Earth, it's going to be at the closest it's ever been. It's only 100 miles compared to last month's super moon, but it's still closer. So that means that pull on the Earth. You look at the ocean's tides, that pull on the Earth, they'll be higher, they'll be lower, they'll be higher, they'll be lower. So because it's so close, okay? So those are the things that you have to think about. People think, oh, this is such hooey. It's really hooey, and it's really not. In Queens, wow, that's still that's about almost 3.5 or 3,500 miles away from where I'm at in Oregon. I'm on the West Coast. But the thing is that we really want to be cautious because all these energies are going to create tension. We really need to be patient. With this full moon, you're going to sort of look at what is the goal and mission in my life. This full moon has sort of got you thinking and curious, and this is going to increase through these retrogrades a little bit. It's going to really increase. The full moon energy is, because it's in Sagittarius, it's not going to stay there very long. It's going to move into Capricorn, and then it's going to move into Aquarius, which is about reality. Okay, so reality versus our unreality. Hey, Felix, welcome. That's the thing that we're going to focus in on. I'll give you a summary at the end because I'm good. If you want to write all this stuff down or come back and watch it again and write it down, because there is so much. But this full moon that has happened, it is not only in what they call the North Node because of the eclipse. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the lunar eclipse and why it's so important to this full moon. Okay, so we have, when you have to imagine 3 planets. Okay, so you imagine the Earth, the moon in the center, and then the sun. So the moon gets in the way, so it creates that eclipse. Now, when we look at the full moon, this super moon, we're like, wow, this is a lunar eclipse, and it's just because of the time of the season it's called lunar. But when we look at that lunar eclipse, you've got all those energies in alignment, big, powerful energies in alignment. So that's going to have a major push-pull. And not only on top of that, it's considered the flower, quote unquote, blood moon. Anytime you have a lunar eclipse, it's called a blood moon. Why? It sounds horrible, but with that moon getting between Earth and the sun, you're getting an eclipse, but then you get a moon that is getting the illumination from the sun, so it appears red. That's why it's called a blood moon. So you're just getting an illumination of the sun from the back, and it's turning it sort of a red color. So that's a blood moon. It's called a flower moon because we are actually at the end of spring, almost at the summer. And this flower moon is about, okay, you think about your garden, you know, when you plant it in the spring, you can't see anything. But as the end of spring and beginning of summer starts, you see the flowers, you start seeing the little green sprouts and everything, and it begins to come up. Now, if you're looking at tulips, they're already in flowering and they're almost done. So there's another reason. And it goes back to the Native Americans and all back into thousands and thousands of years, I'm sure, all over the world, why they would call it a flower moon. But that has a lot to do with it. So this moon in the eclipse, this full moon in the eclipse, it's going to basically throw twists and turns. Woo! We're going to be like on a roller coaster. Okay, so it's sort of, and also it gives us a time to step back. And I'm going to say this several times because with the Mercury retrogrades, with the full moon, with the lunar eclipse, this is a time where we need to step back because you might be seeing things or hearing things that are going to trigger you from the past into the now and make you think about your future, because this is a time of analyzing. This is a time of like full circles, and it's also a time of closure on things because we're now beginning to look at reality versus fantasy again. Okay, so with this super moon is teeing with Jupiter. So I'm not going to go into all that stuff, but what it basically says is that we want to push back on our limits. So you may want to go, but you're sort of pushing back on that. It's like go big or go home kind of a thing. And you're like, nah, not now. No, not now. That's going to be sort of part of this energy. Okay. I'm not going to go into the spiritual side of it because some people haven't watched my channel yet, but I will bring it up later because it's really important. It's probably the most important element of it. But anyway, so there's where we go. So with this with this full moon, you're going to see a really high, like if you feel like all of a sudden you got a burst of energy and then it drops, that's going to be typical. It's sort of like a mood swinger, and your moods may get more intense. So pay attention. Are you getting a little bit angrier more than usual? Are you really, really happy and you're like, wow, is she happy? Why is she glowing? What is the thing about her? That kind of a thing. So your moods are going to like go to an extreme. So this is going to be typical. A lot of everything about not only this Sagittarius, and we're going into Mercury and Saturn and Pluto. I'm going to touch on Pluto because Pluto's been into retrograde right now for a while. But the thing is, in the summary, you'll hear me talk about boundaries and the commitment, because this huge time, and this is going to go, these retrogrades are going to go into, I believe, all the way, some of them are into October. Yeah, October. So this is a time where you're actually going to push the boundaries. You're going to set new boundaries. You're going to stand up for your boundaries and a commitment, and you're going to make somebody else probably stand up to their commitments, because this is a really huge time. Because not only do we have Saturn, we've got Jupiter, we've got several of the planets. We got Mercury, we got Gemini, we've got Pluto, we've got Venus, we've got Neptune. All these energies are creating, but the biggest thing is to remember, it's like it's sort of like something overlays another. So more power lays over these other powers, and that would be the power of setting boundaries, goody and standards. And some of you guys might have had that in your reading. So that is going to be these retrograde energies along with this full moon. Now you got to remember, the full moon started probably about the 23rd. It was huge. It was so beautiful. I could see it. And when that half moon was there, oh my gosh, the energies were just amazing. But they're going to run from the 23rd to about June 3rd. They're going to start dissipating, but the retrogrades are stuck there. So just remember that. Some people are not going to like it. There's just some of these energies. The ones that are going to be most affected by this full moon, blood moon, is going to be the earth energies. These are Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo. Sorry, guys, you're really going to have to pay attention. I'm a Virgo, so I really have to pay attention. I actually felt these energies coming in. I'm like, why am I lethargic? There is going to be a push. Okay, so you're going to be like, you used to have a lot of energy. You used to, want to go. I was just talking to somebody this morning about this, and I was like, well, why do you feel that way? And I said, maybe it has to do with my surgery. And I'm, no, it's not. You're just tired. And I'm like, nah, you know what? And I didn't even think about the moon and the planets, but I'm somewhat lethargic. And what we have to do, if we're these signs that are really being affected by them, get outside, push yourself, make yourself happen. It's okay to feel, lethargic for a little bit if you're really tired. However, this can zap your energy. Empaths get our energies zapped really easy. Now, can you imagine having somebody zap my energy if I allow them in and allow that energy in? And then I've got all these planets and moons and everything. I'm walking around here like a dead man walking kind of a thing. So I really, 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 as a Virgo, have to push back on this lethargic. You might feel fog brain. You might feel like your energies are just not quite there mentally and physically. Like, your things aren't just really clear. Don't make big decisions if you're in a fog brain. Don't do that to yourself, because you might regret those later. And then you got to retract and do all that kind of stuff. Just know that you're also going to want to have this feeling of wanting to explore things, whether it's internally or whether it's externally. So maybe you're getting an edge or urge, because travel's going to really come up for some of you guys. This edge to travel. I think that's everybody in the pandemic, right? But for some signs, it's going to be more of a travel thing. You really want to travel. You really want to explore. You really want to try new things. You really want to do that. And so you may have to push through that. Your heart may be saying, yeah, I want to, but then, man, I'm tired. So you really got to push through that, really push through that element there. And that's the full moon energies, okay? Don't be afraid. Taurus is going to be hit really hard about um, this change thing, you know, because we're in a reset right now anyway. Worldly, we're in a reset. We're in what they call a cultural reset. And in 100 years, people will be looking at us when we're gone and saying, wow, they had some major cultural changes and shifts during 2020-21. This is going to be huge, guys. If you listen to master astrologers, they talk about this reset all the time. And it's a good thing. It's a cleansing thing, because when you have a death of something, something old, then something new, a rebirth takes its place. This is happening right now. You even hear this, I think, in your readings. You'll hear me talk about, oh, when there's a death or the number 10, you know, something is going away, something new is happening. This is going to be just your life. When you end something, something new, but it's what you put new into your brain and into your heart that makes a difference. So this is going to be hard for Taurus, because Taurus doesn't like change. But you got to push back, Taurus, push back. Otherwise, everybody's sort of like, okay, yeah, maybe I can try this, see if it works. And if it works, really, really good. All right. So the full moon is going to bring a lot of push-pull energies for right now and up till about the 3rd. So when you feel like you're pushing against something, this is a big time to really learn a lot of communication skills, because you're going to actually want to control things. And that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to control, because we want to allow people's ideas and opinions and things to happen. This is part of the Pluto retrograde energy as well. And that's what I'm going to talk about next. But if you need communication skills, or you need to start to learn how to communicate, I do have a video called Effective Communication in the playlist, or you just type in Effective Communication in my webpage, or in my channel, it'll pull up. And that's a good start. And then you go on YouTube and find out. You just got to be careful who you listen to out there. But the thing is, it'll get you started, and you also learn skills never to fight again. How wouldn't that be great for you, never to fight with somebody again? It's possible, you know. Okay, so let's get back to this. So for those of you who have just tuned in, thank you for checking out my channel. It is a live chat. You can come in and ask questions, say hello, tell me where you're from. We're talking about the full moon, the flower blood moon, the eclipse, and all 3 retrogrades, and what it means to you. And then I'm going to go into a reading. So if you've just chimed in, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All right, that was a commercial. So we're going to talk about Pluto. Pluto actually came in on the 27th. Pluto's retrograde will go all the way till October 6th. Now, with Pluto, Pluto's planet is again about death and rebirth and transformation. So this is why you might be feeling like you might be either out of control, because Pluto is about control and power. So the retrograde, you sort of reverse that. And that means that if the Pluto is really slow in moving and in a retrograde, this is really powerful, because you're going to feel sort of like powerless, or you're not in control of a situation. And it's going to drive you nuts if you're one of those people that likes to control things. You're going to get very, very frustrated, because in direct, when that planet is in direct, then it actually is powerful. Okay, and it is in control. And those are the elements that Pluto has around your life. Okay, and it's going to stay. It's actually good. It's in Capricorn, and it's going to stay in Capricorn until 2024, I believe. So this retrograde, however, is only going to go till October 6th. So hang in there. You got until October to feel a little bit of powerless or out of control, to try to get your control back. But it is, you'll find, you'll have this inner energy to find a way or reclaim that control. Now, if you're a control freak, that's not good. But to gain control of yourself and your balance, guys, in your life, that's huge. You have to fight for that balance. You really have to fight for the absolute truth and balance, okay? And this could go into your work, and this could go into your relationships. It could go into your home. So, you know, these are things that some people take notes on. It's like, okay, I'm getting a little bit, too controlling kind of a thing, or I'm getting too pushy and maybe somebody's backing off. All of a sudden, maybe somebody steps away, somebody gets ghosted. You might feel those kind of energies with Pluto. These are things because there's a disconnect in power. There's no balance there. So if you're having some balance and control issues, this is a time to sit here and stop for a second, slow down, and say, what is it that I'm doing? Because most everybody looks at what everybody else is doing and pointing the fingers. Well, if you would have did this, or if you would have said this, or if you would have blah, blah, blah. No, we have to look at ourselves. How can I? Because you can only control yourself. That's it. That's all you can control. You think you control somebody else. You can through manipulation. And that's not love. That's not divine. So really pay attention to that. And this is going to happen. It's sort of like, it's also going to be this power between truth and falseness. Okay. And what is that? Okay. So I'll talk about that a little bit. Welcome, Mama Lina. Thank you for popping in. So you have to sort of look at this Pluto power trip, and then we'll go on to Saturn next, because Saturn's the next retrograde. So this Pluto, just sort of think about Pluto's power and control as like a demolition ball going into a building. It's going to just destroy it. And what it's destroying is the falseness. So when I talk to you guys about your readings and talk about absolute truth, that's what Pluto is doing. It's going to shine on what is true. It's going to show the truth. It's going to bring the truth. And that demolition ball is going to just eliminate the falseness. If you want to call it fantasy, you want to call it, illusions, whatever you want to call it, it's going to demolish that. So you might have things come to light over this time between April and October that you're like, wow, the truth sure does come out. Oh yeah, dark does come, or light does cover over dark. You're going to notice those things. All right. So that's sort of the main energy of Pluto in this retrograde. Not bad. These are not bad things. It's just, you're going to have to really look at yourself. This is the whole thing with these 3 planets and these retrogrades. It could be really, really daunting and tiring, but it's tiring because you have to look at yourself. And it's the past, the present, and the future. Welcome, Sambit. Namaste. You have to look at yourself all over the place, your past, your present. And what is bringing you forward is this mindset and where it starts from. Does it start from your heart and your spirit, or does it start from your head? This is what Pluto, Saturn, and Mercury are saying. Pay attention, because your future wants to be and should be in a forward movement, in an upper light movement, in a divine movement, so that you can have everything, abundance. You guys, I used to be there. I used to live in the world, and I used to live that way. I will tell you, it is a roller coaster. If you live in the mindset of negative, or I can't do it, or limiting, it's a mindset. And now that I live in spirit, abundance has come enormously because there is no limit. And I let divine bring me no limit. But I got to be obedient. Okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that right now. Okay, so let's go to Saturn. Saturn's in Aquarius. Okay? And again, Saturn is about setting boundaries. So when Saturn's in retrograde, again, Saturn has slowed down completely. And that started May 23rd, and that is going to go till October 10th. So when Saturn slows down, and Saturn is the planet of boundaries and setting good boundaries, now we're in the opposite. So boundaries are all over. Boundaries are like chaotic. So this is where it's really important. This is where it's really important, like I said, past, present, future, to really evaluate if you're being walked over all over the time, if people are taking advantage of you all the time, or if you're taking advantage. I'm not saying that everybody's doing this, but we sometimes take advantage of people for our own gain. So I used to do that all the time. Don't do it anymore. I just don't. But the thing is, we got to look at those creative, healthy boundaries. This is Saturn. This is Pluto. This is Mercury talking about this. But Saturn's baby per se, home per se, is about boundaries. So we have to figure out this we're so living in a fast world. I don't know what country or continent you're in, but in America, it is so fast paced. It's like your head is spinning. You don't have time to think. It's a go, 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 go mentality. Well, Saturn is taking that back and saying, hey, put on the brakes, slow down for a minute. You have to take time to slow down, listen to what's going on. It's almost like the commercials or with parents saying, put the cell phones away, put the computers away, go camping where there's no signal. Put the cell phones away, the computers away, the telephones away, the TVs away, and sit there and think. I think there was a show, Last Man Standing, that they did that, and the girls could not sit for 10 minutes without their technology. Okay. And that is the thing that we need to get away from, to pay attention to what actually our hearts need, our body, our soul, our mind, and everything. So that is really something big. This structure, we have to really, really, with Saturn, really reset our structure and our future plan. This is our boundaries. I'm not going to let you walk all over me. I am going to say my mind. I am going to be authentic in who I am, whether you like it or not. You can go away if you don't. However, it's like my spirituality and my hoo-hoo-ness. I call it my hoo-hoo-ness, all my clairvoyance and my intuition and all that kind of stuff. If somebody doesn't like that and understand that, I love them for who they are. They're just not at that level of understanding. And if they want to go away, they can go away. If they want to come back and ask me questions on how it works, which most of the time none of us know because it's divine and it's second dimensional, we have no clue. But if somebody wants to know, so be authentic in who you are. This is going to be really, really huge. That is called honoring yourself. And this is a Saturn energy, honoring yourself and staying away from the negative energies, walking away from the toxic relationships, the toxic work. Don't say, I'm not telling you to quit your jobs, okay, guys? I'm not telling you to do that, but I am telling you to think about, is this toxic? Do I hate going into my job every day? Do I get up and think, oh, crap, I don't want to go in and all that kind of stuff? Then that is time to really analyze why you're in that job. If it's for the money, it's the wrong thing. Because if you're in a passion and something that you desire and your calling, it's not about the money. It's about your passion, desire, and divine brings that money to you because now you're doing what you were created to do. All right. Pay attention to those things. The other thing, and I'll tell you, I don't know what happened to me for a couple of years, but everything was coming full circle. I had met a lady in Florida. When my brother was murdered in 94, she was our victim's advocate. 1994. Welcome, welcome. Who's it? Oh, Cinderella. Welcome, welcome. In 1994, he was murdered. We had a victim's advocate. Okay, so she helped us through that process, and then sort of kept in touch, lost touch, and I think about her because they never caught the killer. But then I think about her. Now get this. Fast forward 3 years later, because she was studying to be an attorney. She became 3 or 4 years later. Or wait a minute. No, 10. Excuse me, 10. She became an attorney. And then she became a judge in Florida. And then all of a sudden I get a phone call while I'm riding my horse from a detective or somebody and said, would I come to Florida to help her? And I'm like, wow, after all these years. However, my point is I went to Florida, I helped her out. We met, we had a beautiful time. But the thing is, it was full circle. I'm getting goosebumps for somebody. This is a time to really think about, with these Saturn energies, who you need closure with or who you want full circle with. Divine, and talk to the divine about it. Say, you know what? I have not seen this person and I don't know if I'm supposed to see them again or want to talk to them again. But if it is your will and there's something more to this, then can we have closure or can you bring it full circle? Ask divine, because if it's part of the process, he will. You know why? Because I not only did that with a girl in Florida, I did that with 6 other people within a year. And it wasn't me. It was divine bringing these people back in my life. And I'm like, what the heck? But it created a closure so that my future, that part was done. I no longer had to focus in on that in my subconscious. I just went forward and I touched somebody else's life in the process. So these are things with Saturn energy that you really, really want to do. closure. And if you've got some negative energies there, like I need closure because I'm jealous or he hurt me or all that kind of stuff, you got to move away from that. Again, we're in Pluto's energy, death and rebirth. Don't hang on to the past. That's not what this closure thing is about. The closure thing is about moving forward. The death and the rebirth is about moving forward, okay? And again, it's going to be really hard. You're trying to build a new structure. With Saturn's energy, you're trying to build that new structure for the future because the old one's not going to work. It's just not. All right? Woo! Lots of energies here. Okay, so that's May. Now, that's Saturn, and that's in Aquarius, and that is from May to October 10th. So the most current retrograde that's coming up, guys, we haven't hit it yet, but we are in that energy, is the one that we all don't like, very daunting. However, it's very, very good for us because it really makes us think, change, and grow. And that's the Mercury retrograde. And that starts on the 29th. So a couple more days. Today's the 26th, the 29th, and that goes through June 22nd. So the Mercury retrograde happens 3 times a year. So this is the 3rd one for the year. So that's about it. And it's going to be in Gemini, which is its home sign. It's its home area. So it's a very, very strong energy. And the thing about the Mercury retrograde is about it affects your schedules. So be on time. Don't be late. Set those reminders. Set those alerts in your phones if they don't glitch, because that can happen during these retrogrades. Because we think that, how does it affect it? Well, you have to think about it. They're coming from satellites. Satellites go by frequencies. When I talk about my readings, I talk about frequencies, okay? I talk about, if you're a high frequency, low frequency, if you're really into that kind of stuff, decibels and low decibels, that kind of a thing. But it does glitch it. You're looking at humongous planetary energies, and now you got 3 retrogrades. You got a full moon right now. You got a lunar eclipse. And the blood moon being so close to the earth, if your phones are glitching today or through the next couple of weeks, it is probably because of these. So don't get your phones go fixed if it's just a few glitches here and there, because it's going to happen. And you probably noticed it if you watched the last retrograde of Mercury. But this is definitely about your schedules. Things might want to be delayed. So if you're flying, if you're traveling, don't get frustrated when things get delayed. It's just part of this timing process that Mercury's messing up with, okay? So don't, just go with the flow or have plan A, plan B. I will tell you, plan A, plan B is a good way to go, okay? And then also, too, it also affects not only our schedules, but our communication, guys. So if you're in a relationship or even in work, please make sure that you're getting clarity on something you do not understand. What I mean by that is you're going to misunderstand. And when I talk about that effective communication video, you will learn those skills in there so that you don't misunderstand. And if you do, and a kerfuffle starts, a kerfuffle meaning like a little argument or something, then what happens is you'll know how to diffuse that. All those tools and tips are in that effective communication video. But the misunderstandings, you have to understand that you're probably misunderstanding because you don't understand the perspective of the other person, or if it is a job, what is actually being asked of you. So ask for clarity in everything that you do. For some people, you're, like I said, your wires are going to get crossed. For some people, this in your dating, if you're online dating, that kind of a stuff, people are going to ghost you. People are going to ghost you. So don't get upset about that. Just say, okay, that's not the person for me. Okay, that is nothing about you. It is about that person is not for me. And I won't go into that type of coaching right now. But definitely be clear on how you're getting your point across, especially in Mercury. Asking them if they got this deer in headlights look like, what are you talking about? Then make sure that your point is being clear. Maybe you're going to have to say it different. Maybe you're going to have to draw a picture and explain it out. Maybe you're going to have to, whatever, take the extra time to explain yourself if you're not being understood properly. And then make sure that you hear their perspective first. because you already know your perspective. So when you're communicating with somebody, make sure you listen to them first so that you can get your perspective, and then you can ask questions. Okay. The only other thing, because Mercury's going to square with Neptune, I forgot when they're going to do this. I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. But it's going to square with Neptune. And again, remember I said earlier that you're going to sort of have fog brain, or you're going to sort of get, not like a day you're just, your head's just not clear. That is sort of what's going on also with Mercury. So it's not going to last, but it's just going to create a little confusion. And again, that is where you want to be really mindful of your communication so that you don't misunderstand. All right. Okay. So the ending summary of all this full moon and these retrogrades is boundaries, 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 setting good, healthy boundaries, getting rid of the old ones, that death and birth thing. This is something where you really want to do this. This is going to go on for a couple, it's going to go on for a couple months. And plus, if you've watched your readings, you'll hear me say when I go into the third oracle, I'll be talking about future energies, and it's through June and July. Don't ask me what, but Divine says there's some huge transitions coming up. I don't know what they are. I don't know who they're for. I know that some of them are for me, and I can see sort of some of those transitions already starting, and I'm a little nervous, but hey, you know what? I trust in Divine, and I trust in everything that he has. The other second summary is really be mindful to what is true and what is false, and let that truth come through. Don't try to manipulate it so that it becomes your truth. No, you got to let Divine show you the truth. You got to let Divine show you what is really, really happening, because that is going to help you not only in your future, it's going to help you in your relationships. It's going to, yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. It's going to help you in your relationships. It's going to help you in your work, especially if you're becoming in tune to Divine. Having that relationship that you can begin to hear him, paying attention to the intuition. And that is really, really key, especially for those that watch my tarot. I always say divine driven, divine guided, because I used to live worldly. Even though my abilities were there, I'd squish them, and I lived by the world, and my life frickin' sucked. It was a roller coaster, struggle after struggle, suffer after suffer. And when I finally said, okay, I'm going to allow these abilities to come out and screw everybody else, screw society, because this is who I am authentically, and came out and said, I am going to follow you whichever way you say you want me to go. I'm going. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. And my life has turned around 100%. All right. If you have abilities, don't wait. If you're squishing them down, don't wait. Just make sure they're of the light and not the dark. Okay? Because the dark really would love to have you come through and give you that power that is not good. I see it all over the United States right now. It's like, wow. Even some people believe that the vaccine is a mark of the beast. So, I mean, this is dark times. These are dark times. Okay, so what I'm going to do next for those that are brand new to my channel. So if you go, I'm going to go into a reading, and what that means is it'll be like a reading. So if you have a sign that you want to watch, this is sort of what you're going to see and how I do them. And hopefully this brings you some guidance. It answers a question that you might have. This one is going to be for the full moon today and for these next, I'm going to say, 3 days, because we're in the full moon energies. And this is going to be probably from the 26th, 27th, probably to the end of the month. Okay. So, and this is going to be just a collective. So it may resonate with you. It may not. Although this first card out, I will tell you, if you are having a question for Divine, if you're struggling, if you're going through something, he just said, if somebody's sitting on the fence, you're trying to decide one way or the other, this is for you, because this is his card. He picks this card. And it also, if you watch the dailies, every morning before I pull cards, I pray and say, these are your cards. You pick the cards. And what do you want to tell the people today? So this is the first card is Divine's card. Second card is this current energy during this week. And the third card is the future energies. And that is for the future up to the next week, I'm going to say. However, they could last longer. Because in your readings, you'll hear me say that, and then it will be, especially now in your readings, it'll be through June and July. Because I don't know, there's transition coming. The big word that Divine keeps telling me is transition. There's a lot of transition happening in people's lives for the good. Because if the transition is of Divine, you'll know because it's for good. If it's something that you're like, nah, I don't know about, nah, that's lower vibrational energies trying to manipulate you to do something Divine maybe doesn't want you to do. So if it doesn't feel right, if your intuition is saying no, that transition is probably not for you. That person may not be for you. Remember, these are energies of the full moon to get rid of toxicity. All right? Toxic relationships, toxic jobs, toxic everything. Things, habits, behaviors, things like that. All right? I love when you guys say hello. Thank you. It makes me feel really, really good. I just love to hear where people come. I'm a world traveler. I love to travel and I love culture. That's why I lived in Japan for years. And yeah, I speak Japanese, but I've been there so many times. And then Africa, and just I love culture. Anyway, Divine's card is the number 3. This is to acknowledge that he wants you to go slow and steady. Definitely slow and steady. This is what the planets are saying. Remember, it's like if you're going to go, we really need to slow it down. And because we're so busy paced, we can't even listen to ourselves. And we need to acknowledge that for ourselves. And I can't remember what sign had this as the Divine's card this last week, but the current energy for right now is education. This is about your this is about your purpose, but right now, education being just learning something, paying attention to something, maybe even paying attention to yourself and learn a growth in yourself to more of a positive, more of uplifting, more spiritual way to go. Hey, Ken, welcome from Cali. You down below, you're just south of us. Welcome. And then the spirit of place is the number 4. That's your future energy. This is not only, I'm going to tell you right now, this is not only for this week. It is for the next couple of months. Because the spirit of place is definitely about the energy of creating balance. The number 4, a lot about balance. All right. So let's see what else we've got going this week. But remember, I always go by the Divine's card. I love these other 2 cards. I love the energies of the planets. But a Divine's card is slow and steady. And to be honest, I even had a friend, I haven't done too much leather work this last couple of weeks because I am still healing from my surgery. However, I just haven't had the motivation. Again, that sluggish energy coming in from these retrogrades, I'm feeling it, but I'm having to push through it. So definitely, I'm feeling it as well with you guys, even as an empath. But then I have to force myself to get out, okay? I have to force myself to get outside. I have to force myself to get, away from the house. A lot of the times we get too complacent in our homes, and we need to get out, okay? So we have the Knight of Swords and the 9 of Cups, and we have the High Priestess. Okay, so the Divine and the angels and everybody are backing this up. They're like, yep, please do this. Whatever you wish for, it doesn't mean that you're going to get it faster, is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing them say, you know what, if we're going to give it to you, if your blessing or your wards are going to come, doesn't mean that if you go, you're going to get it any faster. You might even get it slower. Many of you guys in the month of May heard me talk about the tortoise and the hare. That's where we're at. If you take an easy, steady pace, go with the flow, learn what you need to learn, do what you need to do, rather than try to zip like the hare, and then you poop out, and then you got to take a rest, and then, before you know it, the tortoise has already won the race. I don't know if a lot of you people know that, especially if you're in another country, the tortoise and the hare story. I'm sure that's in all over the world. I don't know. I don't know. Felix, do you guys know about the tortoise and the hare? Or do you guys, Mama, do you know about the tortoise and the hare? And Submit. But that is definitely the energies that you sort of keep that in your mind. Why am I in such a hurry? What is there, to gain from? for being in such a hurry. A lot of the times if we're in a hurry, we sit there and we miss something because we're not paying attention to the details. Okay, so this is a thing. Pay attention to the details, go slow, take your time, and then go from there. All right. It should be that one and that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, somebody in their past has always been in a big hurry. Hurry, 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 hurry. That has been trained into you. That's a foundation that was trained into you, and that you need to step back. Again, all these planets in retrogrades, the full moon, step back, take a breath, and ask yourself, why am I such a big hurry? And I bet you will go back to your past, because this is your current card. This is your past card. This is going back and saying, you know what? Because that's what I was taught. Everybody was go, go, go around me, so I just went, just like with everybody else. However, it's sort of like the ham story, and I won't go into that because I know this is going to run long, but it is about cutting off the ends of the ham generation after generation after generation to cook it for a, like a Thanksgiving or a festival or feast or something. And the little child asked, well, why do we cut off the ends of the ham? I don't understand. Why do we cut them off? And nobody understood. Nobody knew. And they went to ask great grandma why she cut off the ends of the ham. And she goes, I don't know why you cut them off, because I cut them off because there wasn't room in the pan. We just get in the habit of doing what our ancestors did and all that kind of stuff without even knowing why we're doing it. This is the same with our spiritualism. This is the same with, yes, I used to be in the Catholic religion, but that religion and what I'm in now, in a relationship with divine, I know his voice. I talk to him. I hear my mother. I hear my brother. I can talk to what is going on beyond, and I ask and guide. Very different. Night and day. But my belief system is much stronger than what I was raised at. I didn't even know. We hear the Bible and stuff like that. However, I do read the Bible and stuff like that still. However, I know there's more to the Bible, because they don't discuss the second dimension. They don't want to discuss the supernatural. I'm supernatural in part of me, and that we all are. But the thing is, nobody wants to discuss it. But I will. All right. So we have the Nine of Cups, and then we have the High Priestess. Beautiful thing about these is you might have been in a hurry. Now, if you slow down and pay attention to know what you really want, this is what the tarot decks call the wish card. I call it the blessing card or the reward card. Whatever you've been working hard or want to work hard to, you're going to get it. You got to have faith, and you got to have trust, because we have the High Priestess next. And the High Priestess, if you look about the High Priestess and you know that it is the counterpart to the Hierophant, which is divine, spiritually guided, second dimension, and people, if you're brand new to me, second dimension means the unseen. First dimension, which is Earth, is anything that you can see. So you got to know which way you live. Do you live by the things that you touch, see? Is that what you believe in? If I see it, I believe it. If it happens, it happens. But as far as the second dimension is about having faith, knowing that things are going to happen for whatever reason, knowing that you get your abundance and your rewards if you are due diligent in just walking in absolute truth and love. Those two things. And having faith and belief that he can bring anything else to you. But we could sit down for hours on that one, so I won't bore you. But if you want to sit down and really talk about a belief system and want to learn about a belief system and know from firsthand that there is more to this life than what we see, then just email me or get a hold of me. All right. But this is definitely going to come your way, but you have to have a belief system. You have to have a belief in trust of a higher power. And this is the things that are going to come towards your way. This is an education for somebody. This is your energy. This is what's going on for somebody right now. They're on the fence. Thank you, Divine. So they're on the fence of whatever their spiritual awakening is. They're not sure. They're unsure. They're like, do I believe it? Do I not believe it? Do I believe this planet stuff, or is it just a bunch of crap and hooey? They're sort of in that realm because it's new to them. It's the number 5. It's new. It's scary. It's fresh. It's whatever. Oh, okay. So you don't know the name. Okay, no problem. So I will remember that other countries don't know about the tortoise and hare story. All right. But the thing is that this is going to help you in your future, especially for anything that you're praying for and asking for. It's going to make you more stable once you get off one side of the fence or the other. I'm going to do it. I'm going to believe in it. I'm going to give it a try. I hate the word try. It's either I'm going to attempt to do it, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, I learned a lesson. It's not for me. Okay. But this is for somebody that it is the high of, I can't even think here. It's the high priestess, the king of cups, and the queen of swords. And the reason why the king of cups and the queen of swords is because during this time of backing up and really slowing life down a little bit and paying attention, and because you're going to go steady and slow, it's like marathon runners. They go at a slower pace because they know they got a long run. If you look at a sprinter, they're not. They're going to go fast. This is about being a marathon runner. This is what this is all about. This is what Divine is saying. Hey, you guys are going way too fast. You're doing a sprint, and I can't use that. I need you to go the long distance. I need you to pay attention, because here's the thing. When the rough waters come and everything happens, you're going to just stay calm while everybody's flailing around. And it's almost sort of like the pandemic. I've been calm through the whole thing. Not a big deal. I mean, it is a big deal. However, and people are passing away, which is horrible. However, through my life, I see the pandemic, but I don't get all kerfuffled, and it doesn't become a roller coaster. I lost my job in the pandemic, and it's like, okay, what next? You close that door. What door are you opening? And let me tell you, you opened 2 doors. And I was like, really? Seriously? You actually opened 3. And I'm like, okay, now which one do you want me to do? So I had to sit and be still and slow down and listen to see what it is that he wanted me to do. This is what's going to happen to somebody out there. I don't know who this is going to resonate with, but it is time to sit and be still for a minute so that you can hear which way you're supposed to go next. And this becomes the truth. Because this is the authentic you. This is what you were meant to do and be, not what you've been doing. Even if it's a job. Yeah. Again, he may give you a bunch of opportunities. When you close that door, he may open 2 or 3, just like he did with me. And it's like, okay, which one? And it was a choice between money, a really good paying money job kind of a thing, or listening to him knowing it wasn't going to bring me any money, but it was what my calling was. And let me tell you, I do it and it doesn't bring me money. However, it brings me a million times more joy. And he has taken care of me all along. My rent's been paid. My bill's been paid. And where does it come from? A lot of the times, I don't know. It just shows up. And it's like, because I'm obedient. I followed what he said. Are you going to follow the world money? Or are you going to follow me, what I need you to do for me? Going to do that. So you're going to have lots of opportunities. I don't know who this is for, but you're going to have a choice. You're going to have a choice. So really, this is where you're going to get your education, guys. This is where your prayer is going to get answered, guys. But it's going to be a test. I will guarantee it. You will be tested, just like I was. Sure, let me see if you're being honest and true, if you really trust in me. Let me see. Look at this money over here. Ooh. But then it's like, here's what I have to offer you. But then I could feel peace and I could feel joy. And I'm like, ooh, that feels so nice. But then, ooh, which way do I go? And I literally sat down slowly and waited and waited and waited. Probably a couple of weeks, actually. And then finally, I made my choice. I got off that fence and said, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to trust and have belief in you that this is what's going to happen. Now, I had 2 job offers. One was for my leather business to start getting it going again. Or do I go to this good paying job that had a lot of stability? Or do I do this? Do I do my Get Balanced 2020 Do I do Divine Warrior, which he chose both those names, guys. He chose both those names. I had these choices to make. I'm like, I don't even know what you want me to do. I don't know how you want me to go. I don't know what you want. And here my focus is going all over the place, but I needed to stay right here, focused in the center. What is our center? That's our core foundation, divine, honest truth. It's who we are built to be, not what we were in our past trained to be. And this is the planet Pluto. Curiosity. Very curious. A message of curiosity. So I got somebody's curiosity up out there. And that's good. It's really good. But you have to act on that curiosity. You can't be on the fence with that. And especially with the divine, the more you trust and believe him faster, the more your blessings and rewards and your fruits come to you. This is part of it. This is huge part of it. Huge, huge part. Good for you, Notch. Very good. I'm glad. Yeah. You should pray. Pray. I never cease to pray. A lot of people think that if you do tarot, oh, it's like, oh, you're into, Satan, you're into witchcraft, you're into all that. That's a human. That's the humans that did that. Even if I go buy a tarot deck, it's like, oh my gosh, here we go. I'm not putting anybody down. However, that's what made it dark. But tarot started out as light. And if you look at the history, and if you look at the background, and if you go back even further, intuition is supernatural. This is what they had. Even the three wise men going to Jesus were reading the stars, astrology, astronomy and astrology, pretty much close. All right. So definitely. Yeah. There's, again, if you become to have a relationship, you've got to remember, I'm going to tell you in everybody, we've got the wish card twice. We've got the rewards card twice. We have, it's coming. Your rewards are coming. This is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So when I say wish, don't wish, because it doesn't work. You can wish and cross your fingers and do all that. No, you need to ask. Divine, you promised me that you would give me anything that I need within your will. Boom. Ask them. Ask them for it. It will come. Definitely will come. Now, if you're going to say, yeah, well, give me $1 million, you got to be realistic. These are the planets talking. Realistic versus the illusion. False versus truth. Not earthly truth, divine truth. All right? But I'm going to have to wrap this up. I really didn't realize how late you guys are. Woo! Sorry about that. So if anybody has any questions, though, or comments or anything before we do wrap this up, let me go ahead and do, before we go, let me do for this next week a little bit about your wealth, health, and love. All right? Do it really quick. Do a summary so you guys can get on because your time is valuable. Even though you need to go slow and steady now. These planets are really working on you. You may have to rewatch this. This is so packed. I couldn't even unpack it all. I couldn't. I wanted to go into a few squares and trines and stuff like that, but definitely I can't do that at this point in time. People have lives to live. Yes. But just remember, while I shuffle, guys, that wherever you are in the journey of the divine, don't expect somebody else to understand that. Nobody understands. I don't discuss my abilities with a lot of people. It's like the vaccines. I will not discuss vaccines. I will not discuss politics. And I will not discuss my spiritualism with somebody because unless they ask about it, because they're not at that level, they will not understand. I cannot explain the second dimension that I see and feel and all the different dimensions I see. Deja vu is a dimension. There is something even more to that. However, I cannot discuss that, and then I cannot expect them to understand. They will raise their eyebrows, think you're nuts, all that kind of thing. So don't ever think that when you talk to somebody that they're going to understand. Don't expect that. Especially if you're transforming. Again, this is a transformation time. This is a transformation growth to really lift up and look at the divine and live that life of saying, you guide me, you lead, you run the boat. I'm going to sit in the back. You tell me what to do and I'll do it. You want me to swab the deck? I'll swab the deck. You want me to jump overboard? I'll jump overboard. You want me to have that trust and faith? I'll have that trust and faith. You guide it. And you will be amazed at the change in your life. 100%. God is amazing. Amazing. I could sit here and go on and on. That's why I'm writing a couple of books. I probably should just write a couple of chapters and throw them out because it's amazing. It would probably change your thought process in life about it. Ah, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so first one I'm going to talk about is wealth. Okay, wealth, we have the wands, the 7, the chariot. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. Wealth is, okay, to you, okay, if you're brand new to my channel, wealth is not money. It could be money. It could be, again, worldly things. It could be a house. It could be a boat. It could be a car. It could be whatever success and your goals are. That's achievement of that. And they change through your life. And it is in the move. Again, it's transforming. Remember to go slow and steady, the divine says. And during this transformation process of whatever, somebody's starting something brand new, remember to learn everything that you can about that topic. It would be like me learning leather from scratch. I have to learn everything and what I want to do. Well, I want to do saddles. Okay, I got to learn everything about saddles. And the more you educate yourself about that topic, it is going to, you're going to become a master of it. However, just remember that your success can change. It doesn't last the same. Now, if it's divine and if it's spiritual, second dimensional, then what that is that's love, companion. That's like nurses. They give themselves of themselves all the time to take care of somebody. If that's somebody's wealth, that's somebody's wealth. If somebody, helps orphanages, or somebody is just giving or helping and volunteering or just paying it forward, that's somebody's wealth. It's on the move and it's going. It's coming. It is going to transform your life. So stay on with it. Remember to stay with it. You're going to have to push yourself through it. I'm doing a book on hitting your rock bottom, but I am also going to be doing a live, or I don't think I'm going to do it live. Divine wants me to do this one. I need to edit and put stuff in it, but it's on perseverance. Pushing yourself through this retrograde is going to be really big. So pay attention to what your goals are. For us oldies are boomers, we call it bucket list. And for you young people out there, you call it your goals. You set goals and you obtain your goals, and do not stop till you reach that goal, especially if it's of the divine. If it's of the divine, he's going to make it go. He's going to make things happen. He's going to put things in place. If it's not of the divine, you're going to be working your buns off and fighting and fighting and fighting. And maybe then that's the time to reevaluate if that's really what the divine wants you to do. All right. So your health. Woohoo! Page of Pentacles. Wonderful, wonderful. Page of Pentacles. This is all about not only, again, with this full moon, there is going to be some parts of you like your joints, your hips, your knees, your elbows, those kind of things, but mostly your lower back. Also, you might be having some lower back pain. A lot of it is, I keep seeing somebody sitting all day. Get up, movement. And even if you're sitting all day, then what you need to do is move when you go home. I keep seeing a bunch of people sitting at desks or computers. I don't know who that's for. However, if you're sitting all day, get up when I'm doing my tarot, or if I'm doing work on editing and things like that, I'm up and down. I have to, every half hour, I've set a thing and I'm up and down, up and down. So make sure, because that is really strong and it's not good for your blood flow. Definitely. I won't go into nutrition and fitness, but it is not good for your blood flow, especially for your brain, to be sitting on your behind all day. So make sure that you're getting up and going. That is what this is for somebody. This is about movement. Again, guys, movement, 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 movement. I'm not saying go to the gym. Get out and walk. Get out. Just walk. That's all you need to do. This is all about movement this week. Get moving, get moving, get moving. All right. And then we have the 10 of Wands. Woohoo! Love and relationships. Real quick here. Love and relationships. 10 of Wands. The burden is over. Put it this way. But the work is not done. Thank you. Appreciate that. They said, yeah, but the work's not done. So the burden is over. So something is finishing in your love relationship and something is restarting. So again, remember I said, what was it? Is it Mercury? That's all about communication. We want to really pay attention to how we're communicating, if we're miscommunicating, because the wands are all about communication. Again, learn their perspective before you open your mouth, because you could be wrong, you could be thinking wrong, you could be on this different level, you could be anything like that. This is not only love, this is your relationships. And I'll guarantee it, if you were to have a few communication coaching sessions, your chances of any poor relationships going on would actually grow in the positive, because this again is a boundary issue. When two people start yelling, or even the sound starts to go up, then nobody's listening. It's part of your brain that shuts down. When it hits a certain decibel, it's like it shuts down. So you're not even hearing them. And so why do you keep talking? So a lot of this has to do with it's completely over. However, the work is not done. Divine is saying the work is not done. So now maybe you've had a kerfuffle, you've kissed, you've made up, or your family is made up, or a relative is made up. Okay, this is not where it ends. This is where it begins, because that's the number 10. Thank you, Divine. This is where it begins. Now the work begins of growing it back together, because your future energy is about creating stability with the number 4. This is something you both definitely wanted. And then we also had the number 2, which is the high priestess, of bringing it all together. But it is not over, because the divine is saying it's a slow and steady process. Trust me, I will pull it together. I will bring it together. Trust in the divine. That's all I can say, you guys. Really, if you don't have, here's the thing. I don't know if anybody knows who Tyler Perry is here in the United States. I was watching him yesterday, and here's what he said, and it is 100% true. If you do not teach or learn yourself to have something to believe in, a higher power, if you do not believe, and we believe, Tyler and I believe in the same God, if you do not have God, or if you do not have a higher to believe in, then you will fill it with something else. And that something else will most likely be destructive. It'll be an addiction. It'll be, people go into drugs. People go into drugs. People go into porn. People go into all kinds of things to fill that hole. But if you trust and believe in a higher power, in God, it's so much easier. I've been both worlds, and I will tell you from experience, and not only my experience, but watching others transform their experience. This really is your focus. And all those videos that I do, that's not my wisdom. That's divine's wisdom. I'm the conduit. Like I told you at the beginning of 2020, I lost my job. At the end of 2019, I felt this transformation coming on. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't even know I was going to get fired. But the divine had already said, go and teach. And I'm like, what, can you say that again? Go and teach. I said, teach what? What do you want me to teach? And then before you know it, he had Get Balanced 2020. He had Divine Warrior Intuitive. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I fought tarot. Let me tell you, coming from, like you guys, coming from a religion, tarot is evil. Tarot is bad. No, tarot actually comes from the light. And this is basically to resonate a story that is happening with somebody out there, and the divine's way of helping and guiding and getting you through it. All right. I know that this was a full moon reading, and this was, so I don't want to keep going on that. All right. But I do hope that you do like it. I hope if you did watch this far. And Lucia, welcome. Welcome. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that it resonated with you. If you would like to watch your readings Monday, well, I actually start readings between Tuesday and Saturday. They are live, because if you're going through something and you're asking divine for something, that is the time that you need to do it. And that's why I do these live, so that you can interact and say, hey, but if you're going to say, is he coming back to me? Is she coming back to me? I get that a lot. However, go and watch my video when you ask me, are they coming back? And that will sort of give you the answer, okay, before you ask me, because that's between divine and the other person, and also what's going on in your path. But definitely this is an open chat so that you can ask questions. I will I will block trolls. I will block negative energies that come in. And so don't worry about that because that is not allowed in my forum. So again, dailies are Monday through Friday. They are posted and up around, I think, 3 a.m. So hopefully that will help you in your day. Inspiration. You're very welcome, Felix. Sorry it was so long today. Definitely. Thank you, Key. Key or K? You see, in Japanese, I speak Japanese, so it would be K King. So king meaning gold. So, but yeah, definitely. So I hope you do watch the dailies. I'm only going to do them through June unless people really start hitting them and really want to watch them. So hopefully that will be something that you guys enjoy because I'll keep those going if we get a lot more people viewing them. Otherwise, I'll probably delete them in July. All right. So you guys have a great week. Take care. Love you guys. And don't forget to walk in absolute truth, not earthly truth. Very big difference. And love. That's what this life is about. Take care, guys. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate coming in. I love it. Love it. Thank you.